Hello everyone, welcome along to this Saturday's webinar. I'm so pleased to have you all join us today. My name is Mairead and I have been with the TEFL Academy since 2015 and I've been in the world of TEFL since 2004. I am so excited to talk to you about this webinar or about this topic today because it is about an assignment. And it is about the final assignment on the Level 3 course. That is Level 3B. So for all of you studying the Level 3 course, this is your final hurdle. It's the last thing you need to overcome in order to get your TEFL qualification. So this is all about Level 3B. If you are doing the Level 5 course, none of this will be applicable to you, but you're welcome to stay and hang out with us if you wish. But let me stress again, this webinar is all about Level 3B. You're going to hear a lot of information. So as always, we will post this webinar on our YouTube channel tomorrow or Monday. So when the time comes, you'll be able to watch back and hopefully everything will make a lot more sense to you. So while we get started, why don't you introduce yourself in the chat box? If you've been to one of my webinars before, you know that I love to see where everybody is. Okay, it gives me my little fix of international travel. I worked abroad a lot when I was younger, but now I'm back home in Ireland. So cheer me up by letting me know what countries you're in. While you are doing that though, let's get started because we have a ton of information to cover in relation to Level 3 Assignment B. As always, we have Q&A at the end, so I'm going to tell you all about it first and then you can ask me anything you want. So note down your questions or pop them in the chat box as we go and we will answer everything towards the end. All right, let's kick off. Level 3 Assignment B. Today, we will explore the following aspects of this assignment. What the assignment assesses, that's important to know, right? What documents you need to download, and the 3 different sections of the assignment. Step 1 is our lesson plan review. Step 2 is creating authentic activities. And step 3, even though I have forgotten to write step 3, is adapting a physical resource. We will explore all of these sections in depth as we go through. So let's start with what this assignment assesses. Well, it assesses your ability to evaluate an existing lesson plan and make improvements. Okay, improvements is the key word here. It assesses your ability to create original activities using authentic and freely available resources. And it assesses your ability to evaluate the appropriateness and safety of a physical resource or physical activity. Because, you know, if you're teaching children or teenagers especially, there will be a lot of physical activities in your class. There are 3 things that you need in particular for this assignment. You need to download the Level 3B main template. You need to download Level 3B animal fact sheet and our Countries of the World video in MP3 form. These are the 3 things you will need in order to complete this assignment correctly and to do all of the parts that are necessary. You will find all of these things at the end of the assignment instructions. Okay, so they are easy to find. You will see them all grouped together at the end of the instructions page. So let's get going. As I think Julie Andrews says in The Sound of Music, start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. And in our case, the beginning is step 1, the lesson plan review. So for the lesson plan review, you are given a case study, okay? There is a class described for you and a teaching scenario described for you. We then give you a PPP lesson plan. The problem is, everyone, the lesson plan is really bad and there are tons of issues with it, okay, purposefully. So it is your job in step 1 to identify the problems and make recommendations on how we could improve that lesson plan. You'll see that you are given a lesson plan stage by stage, and under each stage there is an improvement section. Okay, and that is where you are going to write your suggested improvements. It will make sense when you see the template. Some advice when it comes to step 1, our lesson plan review. You do not have to comment on the aims, objectives, or anticipated problems. We have included these for your information, but you don't need to do anything with them. They are just there to give you context. What you have to do is write 2 improvements per stage. Okay. As I said, this lesson plan is really pretty bad. There are probably more than 2 issues per stage, but we need you to focus on the 2 issues you think are most significant and what you would do to fix them. Okay. So only 2 improvements per stage, no more, no less. When you are thinking of improvements to make, here are some things for you to consider that should help you identify the issues pretty easily. Remember that this is an online lesson plan. Okay, it says that at the top of the template. So it's important for you to consider, are the tasks suitable for an online lesson? Or maybe would they need to be adapted? Are the tasks sufficiently student focused? Okay, because remember, we want our lessons to be very, very student centered. It is not about the teacher, it's all about the students. Has the teacher remembered to elicit from the students and concept check the target language? Okay, these are things to ask yourself, because if the answer is no, then it seems like that would be an excellent improvement to focus on. Are the tasks suitable for the stage of the lesson? Okay, it is a standard PPP lesson. So there's a warmer, a presentation stage, a controlled practice stage, and a freer practice stage, and a plenary. So are the tasks suitable? If not, that is a good thing to focus on. Is the timing appropriate for each stage of the lesson? Have we maybe given too much time for one stage, not enough time for another? Okay, something for you to consider. Is there enough information in the lesson plan so another teacher could pick it up and follow it? Because remember, ideally, when we write a lesson plan, somebody else should be able to pick it up and teach your lesson. Okay, that is the level of detail we would ideally require. So they are just some things for you to consider when it comes to identifying issues. As I said, though, there are a ton of issues. It may be that you identify 5 or 6 issues per stage. We only need you to pick 2, what you think are the 2 most significant issues per stage. When you are writing your improvements, it can be helpful to, first of all, describe the issue and then say why it's an issue. Okay. For example, the lesson plan refers to using a whiteboard. Yeah. However, as this is an online classroom, okay, there won't be a physical whiteboard. Okay. So what would you do to fix the issue? I would use an online whiteboard instead. Okay. This would be helpful because the students could use it during class and the teacher could use it interactively during the lesson. So, you know, you're identifying the issue, you're saying why it's an issue, you're making a suggested improvement, and you're saying why it would be an improvement. All right. So that's a handy structure to follow for each improvement that you suggest. The most important thing is, though, there have got to be 2 improvements per stage. No more, no less. Pick the ones that you feel are the most significant. So, there's nothing to be daunted by in this section of the assignment. It is nothing new. It is nothing scary. Okay. You will use the knowledge that you gained from doing level 3 assignment A. Okay. That will really, really help you to successfully complete assignment B. I promise. Just think of everything you have learned in the online materials. Okay. And you will be absolutely fine for section 1. So many issues. I can't stress that enough. All right. So when you have done section 1, next you will encounter step 2. Now, step 2 is all about creating original online activities. Okay, this is a fun part of the assignment. Okay, this gives you the chance to be creative and to show off everything you have learned during all of the units of the level 3 course. So activity 1, bearing in mind that you have to create 2, activity 1 is aimed at students who are 10 to 12 years old of A2 level. Okay, all of this is explained in the assignment instructions, but just to give you some context. So you're creating an activity for students who are 10 to 12 years old at A2 level. Now, we have provided you with an authentic text. So you don't even have to go find your own text. Okay, we have given it to you. It is on the theme of nature, and specifically, it's an animal fact sheet. Remember I said at the beginning that is one of the things you will need to download to help you. This animal fact sheet is what you're going to use, nothing more. You've got to look at that text, look at that fact sheet, and then you have got to create a reading comprehension online task based on this text. Okay, so you are responsible for producing a comprehension task, okay, based on that text. We want you to provide 6 to 8 questions, okay? So ask yourself, what questions would test students' comprehension of this text, the animal fact sheet? We want you to make the actual worksheet, okay? So fire up a new document and type out your questions. Maybe you will want to make it look as nice as you can, because remember, these are young learners between 10 and 12 years old. And remember, they are only A2 level, so we don't want to hit them with anything too complicated that they would not understand. I would always recommend running your worksheet or running your questions through a vocabulary profiler, just to make sure that you're not using words that are too difficult for them. So yeah, focus on creating your worksheet with 6 to 8 questions. Why not give 8? Why not? But yeah, 6 to 8 appropriately graded comprehension questions. You might like to do multiple choice questions. You might like to do true or false questions. You might like to do some open-ended why, where, how many, what questions. You might even want to give students a lot of variety and do a mixture of all of those question types. Okay, it's up to you. We want to see what you create in terms of a reading comprehension worksheet. And as I said, I know not all of us are tech wizards by any means, and I include myself in that. So maybe creating like a visually attractive worksheet is challenging for you, but try, okay? Play with font, maybe play with color. If you're confident with putting in some images, please do so. We want to try and make the task appealing for young learners. But if you are technologically challenged, don't worry if it's just questions on a page. Just do your best. It's a nice opportunity to experiment with making worksheets. So you will create the worksheet, and on the main template, you will describe, like you will plan that stage. Okay, so you need to outline how you would deliver that entire stage. Just like as if you were writing a lesson plan for that task. Okay, so maybe you will start by giving instructions. Yeah, maybe you will allow students to discuss or to brainstorm animal vocabulary. Okay, maybe you will share the link in the chat box to the text. Because these tasks are going to be delivered online, so you can mention things like online whiteboard, chat box, breakout rooms. Okay, you can use all of the online tools, or you can reference all of the online tools that you would use in an online classroom. Again, give us as much detail as you can, because we want to be able to visualize how that whole stage would go. Again, when you see the template, you will better understand what I mean here. So that is the first activity that you are going to design, your reading comprehension online task. There's another one. Okay, you get another chance to create a different, excuse me, we're not finished talking about our activity 1 yet. I was getting ahead of myself. So yes, you have your online task, reading comprehension, 6 to 8 questions. As I said, we need to see the actual activity worksheet or a screenshot of the activity included in your materials section of the main template. Okay, so don't just describe the worksheet, we need to actually see it. You must create the task yourself. Okay, it needs to be yours. You cannot find it somewhere online. Okay, you need to sit down and make it. It cannot be taken from another resource. It needs to be like straight out of your brain. That is important. It needs to be original. All right. Now, that's not to say that you can't be inspired by types of activities you might see elsewhere. Like maybe you see a worksheet that you really like the design of, or you really like the question types of. Okay, you can take inspiration, and if you do, please reference it. Okay, but the actual content of the worksheet needs to be yours and yours alone. Okay, now talking about our second task. So you've already created a reading comprehension task. You are now going to create an original online activity based on travel. Okay, so again, your students here are 10 to 12 years old, A2 level, just the same as before. So you're still designing for low-level young learners. This task is going to be based on travel and specifically countries of the world. Okay, it's a short video, maybe a minute long. And that is going to be your inspiration for the task. You have got to create an online discussion activity. So a speaking activity based on this video, based on the theme of travel. How fun is that? We love speaking tasks, and especially speaking tasks about travel. You have got to create a worksheet again, but this time it's including 6 to 8 speaking prompts. So maybe some discussion questions, maybe a role play. Whatever the activity is, that's up to you to create. But you must give us a handout or a worksheet with 6 to 8 speaking prompts that the students could use to guide their discussion or their speaking. Again, super important. We need the actual activity worksheet or a screenshot of the activity included in your materials section of the main template. Okay, it's not enough just to describe it. We need to actually see it. And again, this is a great opportunity for you to practice making worksheets, because that is something you will do day in, day out when you set foot in the classroom. So don't send us links, okay? Sometimes students will send us like a link to Google Drive. That's not enough though. You know, we don't want to be clicking on links, okay? We need to see the actual activity right in front of us. As before, you must create the task yourself, okay? You cannot take it from elsewhere online. You can take inspiration, sure. And if you do, please reference it in the bibliography. But the content of the task must be your very own creation. As I said before, remember this is for young learners, so try to make your worksheet as visually appealing as you can. Maybe using colors, using font, using images, okay? You know, this is your ideal chance to practice doing that type of thing. All right, so that is section 2, okay? You're creating 2 activities for A2 level young learners. The first one is a reading comprehension task with 6 to 8 questions based on the animal fact sheet that we provide. The second one is a speaking activity for your A2 level young learners. It's going to be based on the video called Countries of the World that we provide for you. You need to create a speaking task based on this video with 6 to 8 speaking prompts. In both cases, we need to see the actual worksheets in the materials section. Okay, do not send us links. Do not take your tasks from other sources. They have got to be entirely original. All right. When it comes to filling in the main template for the stage and how the activity would go, remember to provide us with as much information, like how would you start the task? What would you do during the task? What would you do after the task to maybe correct and give feedback? Okay. And don't be afraid to use, don't be afraid to mention all of the online tools like screen share, breakout rooms, chat box, etc. And yeah, if you can do all of those things, section 2 should be a walk in the park for you. Again, it's just a really nice opportunity for you to put everything into practice that you have learned. Okay, to get creative, making worksheets, it is genuinely an incredibly useful exercise to prepare you for real life in the classroom. Okay, so once you have done sections 1 and 2, you are almost there. There is only one thing left, and that is step 3, adapting a physical resource for use in the classroom. So for step 3, or section 3, we give you a lot of information in the assignment instructions. Okay, we give you a class description, and we give you a description of a physical game. Okay, so this is all about a game called running dictation, and just as it sounds, it involves students moving around a lot at speed. However, there's an issue because one of your students has broken their leg and they can no longer run around. So your task for section 3 is to find a way to adapt this game to make it safe for all of the students in the classroom, so that the student with the broken leg is not disadvantaged by the fact that they cannot run. I can't say any more than that without giving things away. But you will read all about this in the instructions, the class description, and the description of the game. And it is your job to adapt the game and physical props to make sure it is appropriate and safe. Okay, so again, this is something that you will do in class all the time when you start teaching. Okay, you've just got to think, okay, I still really want to do this activity, but how am I going to make it appropriate and safe for my students? So it's really good practice for the real world. We give you a template for this, okay? So use the headings on the template as a guide. This section 3 must be written in the first person. So I would da 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 da, or I can da da da. Okay, write it in I voice because you are the teacher in the scenario. So yeah, it must be written in first person as a continuous text, not bullet points. So give it to us in paragraph form. Okay, there are 3 different headings. So 1 paragraph for the first, 1 paragraph for the second, 1 paragraph for the third. The good news is you don't have to write too much, okay? We give you a word limit for 300 words. And as always, plus or minus 10% applies. Definitely don't go shorter than minus 10, okay? Because if you find yourself only writing like 200 words, then it's not long enough. You haven't thought about it in enough detail. So do please stick to our word count of 300 plus or minus 10%. I really like section 3 because really there are no right or wrong answers here. Okay, it is just all about you putting your teacher hat on and thinking, what could I possibly do to do this activity while ensuring that everybody can still participate and have fun with it. Okay, so yeah, it's a nice task. I think you'll find it quite, if not enjoyable, at least useful. I think level 3 assignment B in general is just incredibly practical. Like everything you do in this assignment will be helpful for you when you start teaching for real. I guarantee you look back and think, okay, we talked about this in level 3 assignment B. And that is the idea, to prepare you for real life in the classroom. Okay, so just before we go for some questions, I have some final tips for you. If you have done assignment 3, if you have done assignment A in the level 3 course, you will be familiar with CopyLeaks. CopyLeaks is our anti-AI and plagiarism software. And anytime you upload an assignment, you've got to scan your work through CopyLeaks. Up to 30% AI or 30% plagiarism is acceptable. So, if you get 30, don't panic. Go ahead and submit. If you get under 30, amazing. That is the ideal scenario. If you get over 30, please do not submit until you can get it below. Okay, because if you get over 30 and you submit, chances are your assessor will just return it directly to you, but you will have lost 1 attempt. Okay, so 30 is our magic number. We do not want to be above 30 and submit. If you have any questions about CopyLeaks, please check out the FAQs also on the assignment page. Okay, it runs through a lot of different scenarios. So make sure you understand what CopyLeaks is all about by reading these FAQs. And yeah, try to follow the guidelines as best you can. If you have any questions, either about CopyLeaks or about the assignment itself, please contact tutor support, okay, not student support, okay? This is not their department. Anything CopyLeaks or assignment-based, send your ticket to tutor support. We get a lot of students asking us if we can preview their assignments before submission, but we cannot. Okay, we cannot preview assignments. What we can do is answer specific questions that you ask us. All right, so use tutor support as much as you need to. That is why we're there. As ever, you have 3 attempts in total to submit and pass level 3B. Okay, so if you are asked to resub the first or the second time, honestly, don't panic. It is not the end of the world. Your assessor, like if you do need to resubmit, your assessor will give you detailed feedback on what you need to do in order to reach a pass standard. Okay, so you have 3 attempts total to pass. And honestly, it is not at all common to fail level 3 assignment B. You know, as long as you show us what you have learned all throughout the course, and as long as you apply the principles that you have explored in the units, all will be well. And the great news is that once you pass level 3 assignment B, you're done. You apply for your certificate and off you go to teach. It's super exciting. All right. So there we go. That is all I have to tell you for the moment about level 3 assignment B. I know it's been a lot of information, and maybe you haven't even seen the templates for assignment B yet, so none of this has made much sense. But do not worry. Like, when you get to this point of doing level 3 assignment B, when you download the videos, the worksheets, and the template, go to YouTube, watch this webinar back, and I promise it will make a whole lot more sense. If you haven't seen the template yet, I know this is just a lot of information coming at you and it may seem scary, but I promise it's not. All right, so let's have a look then. I see some of you have introduced yourselves in the chat box. We have Melanie in Arizona. Oh, how wonderful. It seems so exotic, Melanie. I watch a lot of TV shows and films, a lot of them set in that part of the world. It just looks amazing. There's a lot of sand there, right? It's kind of deserty. So thank you for joining us today, Melanie. We have Alina. Oh, Camelia from Mexico. Oh, Camelia, like the flower, right? What a beautiful name. Thank you for joining us. We have Effie from Missouri, now living in Mexico too. Oh, what a coincidence. So we have two in from Mexico. Oh, bienvenidas. I am so glad to have you with us. And we have Francisco Paco from Spain, living in London. Well, bienvenido. That is exciting. Oh, from Spain, living in London. Wow. I lived in Spain for a long time, nearly 10 years. And then, yeah, here I am back home again. But yes, I love everything about Spain and Spanish. And yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful language. So let's go, guys. Have you got any questions about level 3 assignment B? Now is your time. Please don't live in doubt. Pop in your questions into the chat box and I will do my very, very best to answer them. Alina, Camelia, gracias. De nada, Camelia, a ti. Or a usted. We have Fahima from the US. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. So I know it can be tough to think of questions like on the spot, especially if you haven't seen the templates yet. But do your best to think of some questions. It would be a shame to waste the time that we have to devote to questions and answers. I'm just going to move my lamp a little closer because it is 4:30 Irish time and it is already nearly dark. Okay, that is the joy of winter in Ireland. 4:30 and it's dark. Okay. So let's see, Melanie, I've only just started. Oh, amazing. Congratulations. How exciting. No questions yet. All right. Yeah. As I said, though, when the time does come, you'll be able to go to our YouTube channel and find this webinar. Okay. There are also webinars on level 3 assignment A. Okay. So you can check those out too, because, you know, even though we do give super detailed instructions on the assignment pages, yeah, it can be just really good to to watch and listen. It can make a lot more sense than just reading. All right. Have any of you already done level 3 assignment A? Why don't you put it in the chat box if you have or not, and how did you find it? I think that assignment A is a little more challenging than assignment B. Yeah, personally, I think if I were starting out as a new teacher again, I would find assignment A little more difficult than B. Hopefully that will be the case for you too. Assignment A is a little bit more labor intensive, I find, whereas because level 3B is so practical, it can come a little easier. Well, maybe easy is the wrong word, but less challenging. All right. So while you are all thinking of some questions, why don't we do a quick recap, just so you know what to expect for level 3B. So you will read the instructions on the assignment page. You will see that there are some documents to download. The first document will be the main template, and you will type everything into the main template. Okay, it's super important that you complete every section of the main template that you can. The first section will be all about the lesson plan review. So as I said, we've given you a pretty bad lesson plan. It is your job to identify 2 main issues per stage and make recommendations on how to do them better. If you remember, I advised you to identify the issue, say why it's an issue, then make a suggested improvement and say why it would be a suggested improvement. Okay, there are 5 stages in the lesson plan, 2 improvements per stage, so 10. Look at me and my maths ability. You will be making 10 suggestions in total, 2 per stage. The next thing you will do then in step 2 is create authentic activities. So this is your chance to get super creative. You will find the animal fact sheet that we provide, and you will make a reading comprehension task accompanied by a worksheet. You will have 6 to 8 questions that will test reading comprehension for your A2 level young learners. Then you will download a video on countries of the world, and you will devise a task, a travel-themed speaking task for your young learners. Okay, and you will also create a worksheet with 6 to 8 speaking prompts. Okay, and then finally, you will encounter the adaptation task where you're given a scenario. A physical activity is described, you're given a class profile, and you've got to think, how could I make this activity safe for all of the students? And there is also a bibliography. So for the bibliography, if you've been inspired by anything you've seen online in terms of tasks, please reference it there. If you haven't been inspired by anything, you can give us links to the course, or you can give us references to the course materials that have informed your thinking. But yes, it is really, really important that you complete the bibliography too, even if it is just referencing the course materials themselves. If you have any questions about referencing, you will find all of the information on this in the assessment handbook, linked to at the beginning of the assignments instructions page. Yeah, fun assignment. I promise you will find it more enjoyable than level 3 assignment A, I promise. Okay, Alina, I've already done assignment A. Thank you for encouraging us. Oh, no problem. I'm just excited for you all to finish your assignment B and just get your certificate and keep, just get out there, get teaching. That's what it's all about. So hello, Jasmine. If possible, a quick question regarding assignment A. Okay, well, why not? We have time. Could you clarify the correct present tense and form for writing the teacher activity part of the lesson plan? How should the sentences look like? So, Yasmin, you can write it in first person again, or you can write it very much like in imperative form, like give students instructions, put students in pairs, distribute the handout. Okay, you can either use it in that like imperative order form, give, handout, ask, correct. Yeah, or you can just write it as I. Okay, I will da da da, then I will da da da. Okay, don't worry if the sentences are quite short and choppy. Okay, if you want, you can like write it in bullet form on the lesson plan for assignment A. Whatever feels natural to you. There is no real right or wrong there, as long as we have enough information to visualize how your lesson would go. Okay, so yeah, hopefully that answers your question. As long as it's detailed and easy to follow, we are happy. All right, thank you, Jasmine. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Now is your time. You are so welcome, Jasmine. Happy to help. And, let me remind you, if you have any of these doubts, please do send a ticket to tutor support, because I guarantee there is no question we have not seen at some stage or another. It is so normal to have doubts and questions about these things, and that is why student support is there. Okay, we are there like all day, every day. So do please send your questions. Okay, so I think that there are no questions forthcoming. And again, that's okay. It can be really hard to ask questions about something you haven't encountered yet. So let me just tell you that when you do get to level 3 assignment B, please use tutor support to clarify any doubts you may have. Another reminder that all previous webinars are available on our YouTube channel. Okay, this one will be posted in the next couple of days. So, please check out the TEFL Academy's YouTube channel. You will find so many webinars there. Also, let me remind you that one of my colleagues, Luan, and I do a podcast every week. We've been doing it for about a year now. I think we have like 50 plus episodes. So if you have time, if you want to listen to something during your commute, or, I like to listen to my podcasts when I'm attempting to tidy my house, please check out our podcast. It is called TEFL Unlocked, and you will find us on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, and anywhere you get your podcasts. So do please look up TEFL Unlocked, give us a listen, rate and review if you can. Okay. Ooh, I see, Jasmine. Question. Let's get it before we go. Do the unit's knowledge test scores count towards the overall grade, or is the assessment based only on the assignments? So, Jasmine, you definitely need to pass the end of unit tests, 80%, I believe, but they do not count towards your overall grade. Okay, your overall grade is only determined on whether or not you pass assignment A and assignment B. Okay, that is all. You just need to pass the end of unit tests to keep advancing towards the course. Okay, but your final grade is determined by the assignments only. Good question. Yeah, that's really important to know. thank you for your question. So yes, please do check out our YouTube webinars and our podcast called TEFL Unlocked. All right. Thank you all so much for coming along. It's been lovely to hang out with you this Saturday. I can't believe it's nearly December. Like, where on earth has this year gone? But, we still have a couple of webinars to finish up 2025 with. So do please keep coming back to us every Saturday, and there will always be another topic coming along. Oh, Jasmine, I see we have another question. I want to teach English in kindergarten. Will the Teaching Young Learners course help me stand out as a candidate? Does it include assignments or just tests? Oh, sure. I mean, absolutely. The Teaching Young Learners course is full of important information on teaching young learners because, it's different, isn't it? It's entirely different teaching adults or teenagers, or even teaching like 8 or 9-year-olds. It's so different when you're teaching like kindergarten, like 3 or 4 years old. Oh, it's so lovely though. It's a wonderful age group to teach if you are a fan of children. Yeah, I think you would get a lot of very useful preparation from teaching young learners, from the Teaching Young Learners course. I believe, Yasmin, if you are doing it like just as an add-on to the main level 3 course, there are just some tests. I don't believe there is an assignment, but please do check with tutor support because they will know more than I do about the assessment for that. But yeah, kindergarten. I did it when I lived in Spain, Jasmine. I did it for a few years, and honestly, what a joy. What a joy to be with children of that age. They're just like little sponges, and they're just so happy. And they just want to play and sing and dance. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing. You're going to love it, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure all of you will, no matter what age group you end up teaching. I guarantee it's going to be a lot of fun. When I look back over the last 20 years, the memories, the variety of people you encounter, it's super, super special. All right. So thank you all then so much for attending. Send your questions to tutor support if you have them. And just before we go, it would be amazing if you could take a moment to fill out our survey on this webinar, because, we always want to give you topics that you would like to know about. Okay, we like to know what's gone well. As teachers, we are always looking for feedback to improve, because that is the life of a teacher, right? We are always looking to do better. So your feedback would be super, super helpful. You can scan this QR code, or I will write the link in the chat box so you can get there a little easier. It should only take a minute, and yeah, as I said, we really appreciate your feedback always. Okay, so we had Janet from Jamaica and Kindness from Nigeria. Oh, what an amazing name. I love that. So Kindness and Janet, although you have missed the main presentation of this, this webinar will be posted on YouTube in the next couple of days. So don't worry, you can totally go back and watch all of the explanations for level 3 assignment B. Okay, everyone, so I don't see any more questions. So let's wrap up. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you all again very, very soon. All right. Happy teaching and happy learning about teaching. Goodbye.